Hi again, I'm Sashah Handal. I'm a baker, trainer, runner, and nutritionist in New York City, and this is another episode of Alt Baking Bootcamp with Well+Good. Today we're gonna make a really delicious dessert for breakfast, carrot cake baked oatmeal that I top with copious amounts of cashew cream cheese frosting. Let's get started. If you're like me, I always need something sweet and delicious to go with my several cups of coffee in the morning, and this is gonna fit the note just perfectly. It's full of carrots, full of oats, so lots of fiber and things to keep you full and satisfied for most of the morning. We add maple syrup, some pecans, so you've got fats and all of the good things that you need to not only keep you nourished, but full. So, a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. I have 3/4 of a cup of cashews and some dates soaking in hot boiling water that you're gonna wanna put off to the side while you prepare your baked oats. And this is what we're gonna use to make our cream cheese frosting. Simultaneously, I've turned on my oven to 375, and it's winter here in New York, so these are not only housekeeping items, but also housewarming items. I'm gonna go ahead and combine all of my dry ingredients into one. I've got 2 cups of rolled oats, which are naturally gluten-free. And then I also like to use a little bit of oat bran just because it's a finer texture and it kind of gives this nice chewy bite to the final product. We've got some chopped walnuts, which I'm not sure if you are a fan of dried fruit in your carrot cake. I'm not a huge fan. I do like pineapple when I'm doing the actual carrot cake, but I prefer lots of nuts. So we're doing pecans and walnuts. And now we're gonna spice it up. Loads of cinnamon, ginger, cloves, and a tiny bit of nutmeg. And then I've also got my leavening agent in here, which is just baking soda. All right, so the one thing that I'm not gonna add to my dry ingredients are the shredded carrots. Sweet. And now a separate bowl to combine all of your wet ingredients. I'm using 2 eggs here. Lots of people are prone to wanting to crack on the vessel that the egg is going to go into. And that, my friends, is actually a recipe for getting lots of eggshells right into your wet ingredients, which we don't want, right? So it's just cracking 1 egg against another, using it as the vessel and also as the breaker. That's it. I'm gonna give that a quick whisk, break up the yolk. Cool, so we've got just under 2 cups of alternative milk here, and I am using macadamia nut milk. And then we're gonna go with 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup. And generally, I would suggest that you measure everything out, but I know just from adding loads of maple syrup to everything that I eat, just about how much I need. And then we're gonna go for a tablespoon of vanilla. I don't like to be conservative with my vanilla because I think it brings out a lot of delicious aromas and flavors and things. Give that a whisk. And then you're gonna wanna rehydrate your carrots. The one caveat with store-bought pre-grated carrots is that they do tend to dry out the longer they stay in the fridge. So that was the one dry ingredient that I'm gonna go right into my wets with. And then you'll just combine the 2 together. You wanna make sure that all of your nuts and all of your oats are fully submerged. So many different colors, so many different textures. All of these things that are gonna awaken all of your senses when you have this dessert for breakfast. I don't know what else you could want first thing in the morning. Grab your pre-prepared baking sheet. I like to put parchment down, mainly just for ease of getting it out later and getting it quicker into my belly. Fully submerge all of your dry ingredients. That way when it bakes, there will be like a nice crispy top, but nothing's gonna burn. And if you're feeling extra fun and fancy, as I always am, and you've got leftover ingredients, which sometimes happens, you can just sprinkle the extra nuts on top. And then I would do a fun drizzle of maple syrup. All right, ta-da, done. We're gonna pop this into the oven and then we're gonna get started on our cashew cream cheese frosting. You're going to want to bake for a total time of 60 minutes, but I like to rotate things halfway through. So set your timer for 30, give it a little spin, set your timer for 30 again, and then make sure you let it cool for at least 5 to 10 minutes before you dig in. Okay, so your baked oats are in the oven and you've been soaking your cashews and dates for at least an hour. I wanna save some of this water because it's absorbed a little bit of the fat and some of the sugar from the dates, and you're going to add as you need it to our frosting. So I'm using this thing called a sieve, and that basically will let all of the liquid strain through. Oop. So I like to start by just processing your cashews and your dates. Okay, so it's becoming this like really gritty, almost wet sandish like texture. So we've got a couple more things to add to these cashews to make them more frosting-esque. I'm gonna use the fat from some coconut oil to give it that like luscious, delicious texture. And I will start by just doing 2 tablespoons, and then you can kind of go on an as-need basis. Again, a whole tablespoon of vanilla, which I love. You can like spice this up. You could add cardamom, you could add cinnamon, you could add lots of different things. The dates will have already lent quite a bit of sweetness to your frosting, but again, the maple syrup is just to emulsify some of these like chunky, gritty bits of the nuts and make them into a more smooth frosting. Perfect. Okay, I like to take this out of my processor and then transfer it to any container you have at home, put it in the fridge to set for about 30 minutes, just to really like let them bind together so that when you spread it on your warm baked oats, it doesn't just completely melt away, it kind of holds its form. I'm gonna get this in the fridge now. See you later. All right, team, back in breakfast land we are. And we've let this cool just so that it's warm to the touch. And basically I am just letting it cool to avoid a melty mess once I frost it. About 15 minutes. Parchment paper, grab it by the ends. Oh my God, look at that. Pretty beautiful. All right, so we've let our frosting chill in the fridge for at least 30 minutes to again avoid lots of melty messes. It's gonna be a thicker texture, kind of similar to like an applesauce almost. All right, so once you've got this spread, you're just gonna wanna sprinkle it with a few more walnuts. It's really just for the aesthetic and adds a little bit more of a crunch. Ta-da! And now we're gonna hack into it. Let's go with the most evenly distributed frosting here. Ooh. All right, got some carrots on the loose. So this is exactly the texture that you want. You can see that it's this creamy oatmeal-like situation, but it's compact enough to slice it into a cake. Oh, it's really crunchy on the top, I can already tell. I just want a little more frosting. The walnuts that I topped the oatmeal with before putting it into the oven have this like beautiful fragrant aroma right when you bite into them. And then like the luscious creaminess of the frosting. You got lots of carrots in here. Oh. Every bite is just filled with so much joy. I don't know what else I could ask for. Maybe a cup of coffee? Anyone? Someone? If you're into dessert for breakfast and other tasty things, you can find recipes just like this by subscribing to Well+Good. See you later.